What's here in the silence before the music begins? Here's a podcast where we're going to unpack living a creative life and what it means to step into a conscious way of being creative. We have our first guest today, Michael Sebastian, calling in from a sunny Cape Town to speak to me in a rather rainy England. We got to talk about his new album, the creative process, what it means to make music for the dance floor, and what that means to him. All this and more. Join me on The Silent Beat. So yeah, hi, good morning. Yeah, very excited to chat to you today. And yeah, we can just jump straight into it. Obviously, you've got an album out, or, you're releasing it. So maybe you just want to just say a little bit about that process, how it's been for you.
Yeah, cool. I mean, it's the record's called Suggestions for the Dance Floor, and it's a selection of tunes aimed at getting people a little bit more into the dance and into their bodies. Yeah, it's a bunch of like fun kind of party tunes inspired by different genres. So there's a little bit of like Afro house, there's a little bit of breakbeat, there's a little bit of like lots of different fun things in there. And they've all got these kind of like phrases that I would want to hear while I'm dancing, because I've been doing a lot of dancing over the past, couple of years. And yeah, I'm really excited because they're kind of rolling now. I think the first 3 singles out, and we've just released our remix, which is also really exciting. And then there's 6 more singles and an album release and a big headline show still to come. So yeah.
So I love the title, Suggestions for the Dance Floor, but I'm also curious how you came about on that title and what it means. Suggestions is kind of,
Yes, I guess I did kind of think over it for quite a while, because I think I was kind of thinking around maybe advice, but then I didn't want to claim any superiority or claim like I knew what I was talking about exactly. So suggestions felt a little bit more open-ended and like an invitation that you can kind of take. And if you don't want to take it, you don't have to take it either.
I guess, is it like, I presume it's pulling from your own experiences of dancing and being on the dance floor and wanting to kind of share that. Is that right?
Yeah, totally. So I've spent a lot of time on different kinds of dance floors and also playing music for dancers. So I play for contemporary dance. I've been doing a lot of static dance, a lot of contact dance, playing for contact dance. Also like with a lot of amazing facilitators and seeing how they work with dancers. And yeah, each of the tracks has moments that kind of like I've reflected on with kind of like a personal journey of dance, when I've kind of said something like that to myself and I've allowed myself to break through some kind of fear or limitation or something that was holding me back from expressing myself in the way that I wanted to express myself. Or potentially something that I've heard from a facilitator that's like offered me the ability to kind of like step further into what I'm doing. But yeah, they're also supposed to be like kind of silly and playful as well, and not like, not too holier than thou or serious or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. And because it makes me think of like a lot of this. Well, for myself, when I feel stuckness, it can often be in the body. Having motion and moving can be a way to release or just to kind of shift into a different state. So I guess, is that something that you relate with as well? Like using the body is actually like a tool for transformation.
Yeah, totally. And I think for me, the dance floor is kind of like a microcosm of life. I think like the way that we relate socially kind of manifests on the dance floor in a very kind of clear way, and the way that we kind of hold ourselves also kind of arises on a dance floor in a very clear way. So I think some of the journey that I've been through over the past like year or two is creating shifts in my movement and how I show up on the dance floor also kind of creates shifts in how I show up socially and in life, and also relate to myself, which has been really exciting. I did also have something like an idea of suggestions for the dance floor and life, but I think it's like also for me, it's cool to just keep it to the dance floor, and if it does have resonance in other places for people, that's cool. But I also don't want to claim any kind of like claim any higher knowledge or understanding. It's just kind of reflections from a personal journey.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, what's the vision with where, like, what kind of dance floors, or does it not really matter? Because
I think like any, I mean, I come from the, I guess, club world. Spent a lot of time in the club, teenager, adult, etc. Yeah, and I used to love going out, I guess. And then that kind of moved into ecstatic dance, where I found even more freedom on the dance floor. So yeah, and then the contact floor is really interesting and has a whole different different way of relating, which is really exciting. But I guess any kind of improvisational dance space it relates to.
Yeah, well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm only tracking my own experience. Like when I was younger, going to clubs and taking whatever and almost getting a bit like having it's quite a peak experiences doing that. But then now I'm more in like sort of conscious dance spaces, and the one's almost like coming into presence. And I'm curious about your relationship with just like how, like, consciousness, and how much, like, yeah, if it's just music that feels like it's just to be in any dance floor, and if it's about coming into presence. And
yeah, I mean, I guess with my projects and who I'm playing to, I don't really like to kind of differentiate and say I'm only playing for a conscious, sober audience, or only playing for a kind of club audience, or this kind of thing. I think these moments that you can find these kind of moments of transcendence, like connection to self, connection to others on any dance floor. There's definitely different spaces have different dynamics, and there's also like certain dynamics on conscious sober dance floors that can get in the way, as well as there is in kind of like clubs where there's a lot of, I guess, substance abuse. But yeah, for me, I kind of personally like to take my experiences everywhere to everywhere. So like now when I go to the club, I like to dance like a crazy person and take stuff that I've brought in, like, I don't know, may have experienced in a contact class or an ecstatic thing, and take that kind of sense of like physical liberation and connection, and just be with that in that space. And sometimes that might challenge people, or that might offer them something like, oh wow, this dude's so free, he's crazy, or like, how do I get access to this kind of thing? Like I was on tour last month, and then we went to a club in Zurich, and I was dancing around like a crazy person. Then somebody comes up to me, they're like, "Oh my god, what are you on?" And I was like, "I'm on nothing." I'm on nothing. But you can then see that like people are like, "Oh, this guy's really free and has kind of and is really expressing them," and we want some of that. And then I think maybe their perspective is that they would need to take something to access that.
Right.
But yeah, I'm happy to be anywhere and just be bouncing around, and kind of challenging whatever norm is on whatever dance floor as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that just links for me straight to the title of this remix that we've been working on together, of Take the Mask Off. And I feel like, again, a beautiful suggestion. And I'm curious about how that song came about for you in terms of related to that, the title of, like, I know it's about social masks and taking them off, right?
Yeah, take the mask off feels like quite a personal one, in that it feels like it requires some quite like deep work in a way. And then it's, I guess, maybe in relation to kind of moving into different spaces, like different dance floors, different social spaces, different crews. They'll all have like different kind of social norms, and people in those communities will all subscribe to those kind of norms and way of relating and way of expressing themselves, which can manifest as a mask that one would wear in order to kind of fit in to these spaces. Yeah, I've always found that the most interesting stuff comes when you kind of let go of that kind of needing to present yourself in a way that is coherent and cohesive with the group that you are in, and just be whatever you are in that moment. And especially on the dance floor, because the dance floor is like a safe space for expression. so yeah, taking the mask off is really about like kind of getting rid of any kind of like perceived social norms, um, and kind of like expressing whatever's like authentically coming up behind that. Um, and then I found that the interesting thing is that that is often what people will relate to more than you trying to fit in, because you're showing up as yourself, you're showing up vulnerably, and you're daring to be kind of different and unique in what you're sharing. And so often people will kind of respect that and resonate with that. And if they don't, then they're probably a waste of time. Well, it's not worth pursuing that connection, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious about the process of actually like writing the album. I'm not sure how long it took to do, but like you just have say like you have this idea or theme, and then is it that you create a song related to that, or is it more that there's a tune coming and then the concept or the thing comes through it? Like, how does your creative process evolve?
Yeah, I guess because I'm a loop artist and I play, like, I've always made music with the loop station and layered beats and grooves up, and with guitar and beatbox and drum machines and etc. So with this record, I took myself to Portugal for like a month, and I was in different studios around Lisbon working on working just loads and loads of beats and grooves and beats and grooves. I think I had like 30 kind of tunes. And at the same time, I was also in dance retreats and I was playing for dance. And so they were kind of happening alongside each other. And yeah, so I built a bunch of loops essentially, and then I expanded them into arrangements, and then, which was in a studio in Cornwall. And then I got a band together, because we were booked for a bunch of festivals over that summer. And we then kind of played those tunes live, for the whole summer. And then after that, after playing them for a while, then I went into studio with the band and tracked guitar, drums, vocals on top. And then after that, I went to Switzerland for 5 days by myself, produced everything, and added a lot of kind of like I guess more kind of producery style stuff like sweeps, fades, glitches, effects, and things. And so, yeah, it was a really kind of gradual process of layering, iterating, playing live, developing stuff in front of an audience, and then taking it back to the studio. But what's cool is that in the record, there's sound bites from the live show as well. I've taken, I was able, because we played it already, I was able to take some kind of live snippets from the shows and insert them into the record. So that's really cool. So when I listen back to it now, even though it's not a live record, it's got that feeling and live energy, and I feel like I'm at one of those shows, remembering one of those experiences, which is cool.
Yeah, I really love that quality throughout the record. It has different, just the little bits and bobs here there, just gives that energy, like you say. And I like that with the Take the Mask Off as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's the bit where, like, before the final drop, when we were working on it, of just having, all the music cut out and then just having your voice kind of from one of the live, from the live show, and then sort of dropping back into the full vibe. I felt like it was nice to, it's just something raw about it, something kind of fresh. It's a nice quality.
Yeah, totally. And I guess those sound bites, they're not rehearsed. They're just me screaming into the microphone at a show. So it's like, they've got that feeling. I did try to re-record them through a nice mic, and it sounded really embarrassing. It was like BBC Radio 4 introduction.
Okay.
It was not good. So I had to go back to the raw recordings.
Yeah. And that's interesting as well, because, like you're saying, you're a live loop artist. So that's like kind of working with sounds in the moment and looping them up. And there's obviously some, say, like artists or producers might just turn up for a show and like press play on their decks and just play a show out. And I'm curious what you feel about live energy and like instruments versus kind of everything produced. And if there's, in many, I think both can work, but I just didn't know what your relationship is with that, because you do a lot of the kind of, you're very much using your guitar and building stuff up when you make stuff.
Yeah, totally. I think it's like, it's the different choices that you're making. So like a DJ is making more longer form choices where they're like choosing, okay, what's the next 3 minutes going to look like? Where what I really like is having like a very immediate conversation with the dance floor, with whoever I'm playing with, and that like each note is me saying something, and then that could be responded to by a dancer or by the way an audience receives it. And then you're constantly sensing into the kind of conversation between the music and the space, and then playing with it, which is really fun. Like I think one of my favorite things is like holding a drop to the track, and then you can drop it whenever you want. Just have to like do the thing, but then you can tease that very conversationally with your audience, and if the energy's there, then you can hold that for a long time. Yeah, and also the element of risk as well is quite exciting. Like it's I guess DJing, you know, the track's gonna sound good. You might clang a mix, but like as far as that's about as bad as it can go. Whereas doing it all live, there's so many different things that can go wrong, and so when it goes right, it's great, and it always goes a little bit wrong sometimes. But just allowing yourself to kind of be in that edginess and riskiness, and take that kind of risky journey together, knowing that what happens is not going to be the most polished experience, but you could arrive at a really like I don't know, high energy moment for both you and the audience.
What's your feeling with like pre-recorded, like having loops already that you can play? Like, you know, I know we both have the push controller, and that could be a really fun element to bring in working with Ableton.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be a real purist in that, and what I do kind of comes from that. Like everything needs to happen in the moment, organic. I came from a kind of, I guess, school of like very musicianship orientated thinking, in that like if you want to do it right, it needs to be played in the moment. And then I've become a lot less precious over the years, because I think, and also with dance, I think like your physical connection with the audience is really important. And also the sound that's coming through the system is really important. And like people love DJs because the tracks are produced and they sound amazing. So if you have like a drum loop with a fat kick and a like nice snare and crispy hats, that's really going to move your audience, or you've got a pre-recorded arrangement that you're including in a set, but it's really moving the audience, and you're able to kind of go on that journey, sit on top of it, and also be really present with the audience, then that's cool. I guess there's two different things. Sometimes I like to spend the whole show staring at my feet, just being with the music and creating things on the fly. And sometimes different spaces might require just bouncing around, playing solos on top of tracks, and just having a lot of fun with the audience. They're two different things, but I don't think one is better or worse than the other.
Yeah, nice. I'm curious about, it's a question I'm asking myself sometimes, of just like, you know, what's the reason that you're making music or dance music? You know, there's like, I don't know whether it's just because the impulse is there and it's just what feels fun for you, or if there's like, if something you've sat with and there's the question of why, just like, is there like something that you feel that anchors in your creative practice?
Yeah, it's something that I come back to because music's really challenging, right? And so you have moments where you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing something else? But also I've played so much over the past 10 years, like all day, every day, for dance classes and then gigs and then this, that it's almost like my primary mode of communication now. Conversation is almost secondary. And yeah, there's kind of nuances and depths of things that I'm able to communicate through music that I couldn't even touch through conversation. And there's levels of connection that I can feel with others and myself that also I couldn't touch through conversation. Yeah, and also there's a state of presence that comes from it that I find very hard to access in other like moments of life, whether that presence is like melancholic or it's empowered or it's like joyful, whatever it is, it's like really there with that feeling. I think doing music, you have to do lots of things at the same time, and so that means that you can't really think about anything else, so that helps.
Yeah. I mean, do you find like there's playing music and the feelings of that, or writing, but then to be like a living, working musician, there's so many other aspects to it. For me, it suddenly feels like a business or something, where there's aspects to it that aren't necessarily where my joy is, but kind of do encapsulate kind of being a functional musician, which, you know, a lot of people are trying to get to that point. Do you have, yeah, how's your relationship with the whole package? And
Yeah, I mean, like there's an ideal where you're playing and practicing every day and just kind of with the art form. And then there's loads of stuff that you have to do on the side of it, which if the balance for me gets tipped in the wrong direction, then that gets very, demotivating, I guess. And questions about the industry, et cetera, et cetera. But then I think a lot of it can be reframed into like other creative things, like socials, for instance. You can look at it like it's an annoying thing to do, or like you can look at it as like, whoa, now part of my job, I get to make like a bunch of like short films. And I get to put on like fun little shoots and like express my ideas in different ways. And I think there's a lot of expression and fun in that too. And then, the boring stuff is all ultimately motivated by sharing the thing that you are passionate about. So as long as I'm connected to like with the record, I have this little blurb that I wrote like the night before I released it, what I think it might offer people, the joy that I think it might offer people, and the joy that it's already offered me. And I kind of go back to that when I'm like frustrated about it not, like, I don't know, like different processes happening within the release to stay motivated to share the record and to stay connected to the bit that I'm passionate about, I guess.
yeah, that makes sense. I guess there's always going to be peaks and troughs and moments when, you need to find that. That's why kind of having a good why can sometimes be helpful, right? For finding that, just finding the juice sometimes in moments that can feel more stagnant. I guess one reason for like wanting to do these interviews is like, I think lots of people have the creative itch within inside of them and want to live more of a creative life. And it's really nice to chat with people that I'm working with, making music with, about just living a creative life. And I just wonder if you have anything that's like potentially has helped you. Like, what would you put above your studio door, like, or that might be helpful for others from your experience of like, stepping into that life, scratching that itch, that internal itch for creative satisfaction somehow.
So this is, I guess, maybe a thing that I'm coming back to this year, which is consistently challenged from all angles, but that's kind of trust over fear, I guess. I think when getting into music or whatever your creative passion is, it's very easy to be like, oh yeah, this is going to be amazing and it's going to take over the world and it's going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And have all these kind of like grand ideas and dreams and like connection to, and then as you go along the process, there's going to be so many things that like, come at you and try and tell you the opposite thing, and like real kind of like hardcore life challenges that kind of get in the way. And I think it's, for me, when I've been able to kind of maintain my trust in the process, that it'll land me in some cool places and cool experiences, and that giving myself to my creativity will look after me in some way because I'm on my path and I'm following my passion, then you'll get rewarded by it. And I have been, and I've had so many like amazing experiences in my life and travels and journeys and shows and moments, which have all been like so special. And it's when fear begins to get in the way of like, oh, how am I gonna do this? How is it gonna be possible? Will I ever? Blah, 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 blah. That's when I begin to shrink and like not take the leaps that I should be taking, and not practicing with as much passion, and because I've been scared. So at the moment, I'm consistently trying to remind myself to kind of trust in myself, trust in the process, and trust that I don't need all the answers to be going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I like the word direction because it's I'm hearing like trust over fear, but then it's like trust to then take direction, to take steps forward, and that like leading with trust allows the moment or the movement, even if there's not a clarity on where it's going or the answers.
Yeah, totally. It's not like trust and chill
And sit
yeah, and
around
sit back and
like a
do nothing.
lemon.
It's like trusting that your actions will have an
Yeah.
effect. So like that's quite motivating, I guess.
Yeah, beautiful. And in terms of like what's next for your action steps forward, like you can tell us about anything that's obviously there's still some singles to come out, and this
Yes.
show that you've got a show coming up as well, right?
Yeah, so I've got a few residencies before like kicking back into kind of live performer mode. It'd be nice. So some time just me and the music and in the middle of nowhere. And then I'll be coming back to London and shouting about the record and shouting about the show at Village Underground and putting that together. And that's going to be a really special show. There's going to be a live band. There's going to be like a choreographed, dance performance throughout the show. So I think it's going to be one of the most like the biggest, most professional, most like high vibe endeavor that I've undertaken yet. So it's scary and exciting. But yeah, if anyone's listening to this and is in London on the 14th of May, that's going to be the best place to be in London that night, I think.
All right. I'm going to be there, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, sounds good. Cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess we can almost wrap up. I'm curious how the process has been for you. We Take the Mask Off. We worked on this remix together. I mean, we were friends before we met at a contact dance retreat. Yeah, sharing music and dancing, and that was great. And in a way, for me, the record almost didn't need a remix because it was already a bop and it was already felt like a tune for the dance floor. But it's been fun to take it and work with it and kind of bring in some other elements. And yeah, I'm curious how you feel about it being a remixed and like working together on this.
Yeah, I think the remix sounds amazing. Yeah, it's super cool. I've gone back to it quite a few times the past couple of weeks and had a listen. The production is awesome. I think the record sounds and feels quite live. And it's got some like rough edges, which is nice. And then I think, you've kind of taken the energy and the vibe of the track, but then kind of put it in a space, which will work in like big systems, like really punch through on kind of, I guess club and ecstatic dance floors. And added a lot of, kind of detail and clarity. And I'm really excited to see the spaces that it ends up in. Yeah, and also it's always like an honor for somebody to take your work and then kind of embellish it.
Yeah, it's like to take your baby. I just find for me it's an interesting process to kind of take something that's clearly someone's put so much time into and it's a reflection of like so much, and then kind of just been like having my own fun with it. There's a slight delicateness to it as well, in that I really care about the artist kind of feeling good about it, and it's still representing like the essence or something. There's some relationship there that for me feels important.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's I think that's why you've made such a good remix. I think you feel that sensitivity in the tune and also like in the process of going through all the different things. So that's been of like how we were going to approach it, backwards and forwards and versions and stuff.
Yeah.
So that really comes out in the piece. But also another thing is that like I've got my own way that I work, the knowledge that I have and the skills that I have. And then with a remix, it's such a cool thing to like give a tune over to somebody who has a whole range of other different skills and talents, and then can like take a tune into a place that you maybe like couldn't have got it there yourself. So it's like handing the baton on and watching it run further. Whoa, cool.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. And similarly for me, it's so nice to kind of, it's not like just starting from scratch or like for infinity. It's like, this is someone's taken so much time to craft this like amazing track with all these elements in it. It's such a nice place to start from. And then like the boat is already flying down the river and you just kind of like jump on and just, you know, kind of join in with that. So it's really enjoyable to, as a creative process, to kind of really have just such a solid foundation to, like you say, embellish or just explore a little bit on top.
yeah,
Yeah.
fun stems to mess around with and process.
Yeah. 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 Okay, cool. I'm just trying to think, is there anything else you want to share about kind of, yeah, your music or some stuff that's coming up? Like whereabouts can people find you? And I know you do some shows with Face Soul as well. I don't know whether, like, yeah, is there anything you want to share about?
Yeah, I think I'll be bouncing around in the next couple of months, London, Europe, etc., etc. But the main focus is the album and the album release. So, yeah, if you go have a listen to the tracks, and if you're in London, come down to the headline show. That would be awesome.
Cool. Well, we can put links to all of that stuff in wherever this is going to be. I'm not sure yet. Probably on YouTube
Sweet.
and stuff. Yeah. Thanks for taking some time from the other side of the globe to be, yeah, just to be together. And yeah, I guess we'll be in the same country again at some point soon. Should be nice. Yeah. Great.